Howdy, folks. Ah, dang it, I didn't even mean to be on this. I meant to be on this. This is my landing page, or whatever you call the opening page I'm going to start over now. Keep going. All right, episode 7. Let's make a service. I've been talking about it. This time we're going to do it. Okay, so back to why we need a service. If you recall, Command Option I. If you recall, the deal is I want to click here and be able to, when I click there, make it do something. Right now it just says, I don't know what color to give you. Well, you think it should know, but it really doesn't, because where this message is coming from, it doesn't have that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a service. What a service does, well, it can do a lot of things. Well, this time it's going to share data. You can also have it share methods, and it's one method can call one component can call it, and then another component, and change it, and then another component can access those changes. It can do a lot more than that, but that's what we're going to do with it. It could also have functions like maybe an HTTP request, to go out to get something from another website, an AJAX call. You can have a service that handles those, so everyone just goes through that service. But I digress. So if I hit Control C, I'm going to end that, and what I do, ng, that says Angular, generate a service, and call it data. And if you want to call it the data service, I think it's going to name it. It's going to put service on the end. So if you want to call it the data service, it's going to end up being called the data service. So I'm just going to hit this. Boom. Tell me I didn't. I think it worked. Now let's go back to our Atom here. And see this data service.spec.ts and data service. This is what it just created. Now, do you remember? So you see it did the same thing when we create a new component. It puts it in here. It's defaulting to this app folder. We're going to take it out of there. But let me show you this app.module. Do you remember it automatically generated this board component, this answer, the guest, the peg tray, all this? Well, it didn't do that for a service. A service you're going to put right here. But so what am I going to call this? Can I call this data service? Whatever I call this needs to match with what it called it. See, it generated, well, data with a capital D. So I know Command C. This is what it called it. Remember I told you it was going to put service on the end? There it is. But I'm going to go register this in the app.modules, and I'm going to put it right there. Now, let's put it where we really want it. I do not want it inside of this app folder. I want to make a sibling to the app called services. New folder, services. Okay, where are you, services? You're down here, and I'm going to drag the spec file. We're not going to do it. This is for writing tests. It generated some tests, but we're not going there. 2. So now it's inside the services folder. So now I have to tell it. See, it's underlined red because it does not know where this is. So I'm going to import it. Import this from that. And what is it I'm importing? Capital D A T A SERVICE space from, and it's basically going to have the same thing as this, same path, but it's back out, go into the services folder. That's what I called it with an S on the end right there. Oops. And inside of there, go to, and what's kind of scaring me is, didn't I drag and drop 2 things into here? I've done it before where I drop it somewhere else on the way, or I drop it. Oh my gosh, don't tell me I lost my service. It's not in here. I dropped it. I meant to drop. Did I drop it in this environments thing? Yes, I did. You guys are probably watching that and laughing at me. Okay. Data, dot services, and the dot .ts, don't put it there. Notice on all of these I don't have the dot .ts. Data, dot service. This had an S on the end. It was the services folder. Okay, the red line went away. I'm good. So now it isn't automatically available. And first, right now, it doesn't do anything. So let's make it do something. Let's go into this TS file, and I'm going to, if I say console log this, it'll say, hi, I'm a data service, I'm an object, or I'm a class, which is a lot. Some people would give a class and an object the same definition, but there's always someone that wants to split hairs. So what I'm really getting at is I don't have to say let or var if you're used to it. I'm just going to name the property of the data services thing. So what is this property? Let's call it selected color. And I'm going to say it equals nothing. It's a string though, but it's an empty string. Okay. Now, what did that change? Let's go over to here. These errors are scaring me. Let's refresh. What's up with that? That is nothing I touched. And it hates me. Oh, ta-da. Remember I turned off my, what do I got to do? ng-serve. I turned off my server. Got to turn it back on. And it's going to have to rebuild. This is going to take a second. I remember I did the exact same thing last video, or 2 videos ago. And I mentioned that these dumb mistakes, first of all, they make you look really dumb in a live, when you're live coding. But in real life, when you're not live coding and it's just you and your code, you look at it for like a half an hour, and when you finally found it, the only person you can kick is yourself. Anyway, reloading. So what did it change? Nothing. It didn't change anything. It doesn't know what this color is. But the thing is, we can share this variable with all of these components. So which one? It was the peg tray component. Let's look right here. Remember, it has the selected color. We're gonna change this up. Right here, we're gonna have it import our service, which we call capital DATA, capital SERVICE, and we're going to tell it where to find it. Import that from, and I have to give it the path from here. So I'm going to back out. Let's see. I back out, go into the services, into data dot service. And did you find it? Nope. So I backed out to here. Then I'm inside of the components. So do I gotta back out again? I did. I had to. So in case you're not familiar with this, what this is, it says, okay, I'm a little file sitting in. This is a file sitting in this folder. .. / it backs it out of here and says, now I'm talking about, now imagine I'm sitting in this one. Well, I need to back out of that one I'm inside of source, and from the source you can go into, because you can't just go straight into a sibling. You got to back out and go back in. It's like if you're the hallway, you got to go out into the hallway. I'm going to stop talking. Okay. So this data service, think of it as a data type, okay? It isn't a variable, it's a type of variable. And we're going to give that right here inside of this. I'm going to say, make a private variable. I'm going to call it DS. It's short for data service. And what's the data type on this? It is a data service. Okay, so this, when I do this, I basically bring into this class this data service, and now there is something in there that, well, let's just look. I'm going to log ds dot, what did I call it? Selected color. I really don't like that this is underlined, but I think I just realized why. I have to call it this dot ds. Okay. All right. There's this, because the variable name is ds dot selected color, but this is saying it belongs to this. That this is talking about peg tray component. This is peg tray component dot ds dot selected color. And it equals nothing. So what is it going to log out? It'll probably at least tell us a line it logged out. As long as it doesn't say, I don't know what you're talking about, we're happy. Alrighty, recompiling. Do I got to do something? All right, what's this blank line that showed up? That's from line 22. Was that our code we're talking about? Line 22, it printed out nothing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, right where I have this dot selected color is this, I'm just going to go like this. And now the thing that's the selected color is that variable from the service has the color now. So this thing is not bound to this component. So what am I going to do with this color? Well, now when I click it, still nothing's awesome is going to happen. Something horrible might happen, and it might not load. It says compiled successfully. It says loading. It says loading. Hey, I don't know what happened there. I click it. I can't drop it off into here because this component does not know what the heck that thing is yet. I haven't even tried to tell it yet, but right now I'm going to try and succeed in telling it. This import thing right here, I'm going to copy it. Command C. And where was it exactly that I wanted to give it? It was in, what component is it in? Well, it's on the board. Let's look at the board. The board has this HTML. Oh my gosh. It has this app.guesses. So we got to go into the guesses. We could give it to here, but each guesses calls it an individual guess. So I'm going to go to this component, and there are 9 of them. But I just have to go to 1 into the TS file, and I'm going to include it. And V. So it's in there. I got to do the same thing in the constructor. Let's make a private variable called ds. And when you write it in here, it's because you're. It might seem like a weird place to make a variable. Maybe there's other ways, but you bring things in through the constructor. And ds, and that is a data service. No red lines, good. So now, instead of console logging that, let me console log this .ds .selected call. Was that what it was called? This red line is really making me mad. What did I call it on the other one? That was in, I could just look at it right here in the services. Selected color, okay. That would definitely explain it. Okay, red line went away. Red line goes away, that means it understands what that's trying to tell it. It's like cheating. They make this so easy. So Command S to save it. And now, ooh, uncaught. This may be big, it may not be. Expected value undefined. Dun, 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 dun. And it's still loading. Maybe it'll just stop happening. Because you know what happens. Error, unexpected value undefined declared by the module app.module. That's what's this zone stuff? Seen that before. Next time that happens, I'm going to find an answer. So it's telling us something's wrong. Maybe we can figure this out quick. Maybe we can't. If I just comment this out, is that going to change things? You're kidding me. Okay, good. Data service, import data service from blah, blah, blah. It's not giving me a red line. If I take this out, Command X, Command S, and I go back here. Okay. Another thing that could happen, I have a ton of things open. Are they all saved? And see these X's? If it's not saved, it'll turn into a little blue dot. Man, I got a lot of stuff open. I'm going to hit Command S to save it. There's just a save all button you can hit. I just can't remember what it is. Come on, baby. Why are you there? You're not mad at me anymore. Did I actually fix it? I don't think so, but now, big question was, where was I? Guess.ts. Let's put this back, Command V. Private DS data service. See that? It's not saved. Command S. All right, still not yelling at me. Let's unconsole log this. Command S to save that. Still not yelling at me. I don't even know what I changed. So I click that, and when I click this, it's not going to turn it red, but it should print red. Red. If I hit green, green. If I hit yellow, but here's, so you probably believe me if I click here, if I hit yellow, but if I hit click here, it also says yellow. I don't want it to respond to any clicks because the only place I can make a guess right now is right there. So it needs to know that I'm on this row. So first things first, let's make it turn that color. That's the big trick we're all waiting for. But then the second thing is let's make it understand what row we're on. Again, that's going to be with the service. Okie doke. So, okay, color. We don't want it to color me, we want it to actually color it. So I had a great idea about how to color that, and I forget what it was. I'm going to inspect this. Inspect. And I think did I build into that a class, or was I waiting to do that? Yep, I was waiting to do that. Okay, and now I remember something. Okay, so if I call this peg 1, peg 2, peg 3, peg 4, and I give them that ID, well, that would be great, but then when it ends repeats, this has the same ID of peg 1, 2, 3, 4, and since only one thing can have an ID, the very last one would end up with the ID, so I might click here and then it shows up there, although maybe this is the one that with the one. So anyway, but if I said active guess, because this is what is my this is my first active guess, this is my second active guess, this is my third active guess, so I get 9 guesses. So I mean, in computer speak, that's 0 to 8. So I needed to know that I need everybody, all the components, to know what my active guess is. So my active guess, let's go to our service and let's make something called, I called it active guess, but just now, I'm just going to call it, active guess. We just had puppies, and I let the kids name them because I'm really bad at making names. Equals 0. Okay. And I'm going to pass. So now there's something over, because this is part of this data service. Where before we were doing ds.selected_color is whatever. Now there's ds.active guess is that. Okay. So if you're wondering, hey, wait a minute, you said you were going to color this first. You said you were going to color this first. I need to identify this thing. And I want to identify it by guess 0, position 1. And this is guess 1, position 1. Otherwise, they're both position 1. So I want to give it an ID of basically peg-0-1. Or peg-0-0 actually. 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, etc., etc. So back when, so where would I do that? So each guess had an HTML thing. And right here, inside of, yeah, this thing, this guy right here, where's the ng repeat? Color me. This is definitely it. Oh, ng4, that's right. We're in a different version of Angular. I need to give this an ID that makes it unique. So there's two parts to this. Let index equal let I equal index. Holy cow, where did that come from? Okay, remember this ng4 is making, in this case, four different pegs. It's we said for every peg of the pegs, let I equal index. So this knows it's counting from 0 to 3. It knows that. And it's calling that counter, the thing, index. So there's this like secret thing going on here called index, and I just want to shorthand call it I, and I can do that by just doing this. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. I'll just have to prove it, and I'm going to put an I there. And now inside of all of those divs, it's going to put an I. So Command S to save it. And see, there they are. So what do I do with that? Escape. I'm going to get rid of that div, and I'm going to give this an ID. Another thing to make this readable, I got this in here. I got this in here. I'm going to line it up with that. I got this thing in here, and I'm about to put something else in here. And then I'm going to bring this to right there. Actually, yeah, I'll do it like that. And right here, I'm going to say ID equals peg dash I. So each one of those is going to be called peg dash I. Let's refresh, inspect, and it has a peg 0, a peg 1, peg 2. See, as I hover over them, peg 3. But there's a problem. There is a problem, but it's not showing itself. Come on, problem. The problem is, what am I not hovering on? It should be doing that for all of these. I'll click on this guy and inspect it. See, he's pegged 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's not okay. When I say, hey, click this, turn peg 1 red, well, that's not going to work. It's going to turn, this is peg 1, that's peg 1, that's peg 1, that's peg 1, blah, blah, blah. I got to say when the active count is, so I'm going to include in that ID the active count. So, okay. The active guess. So the active guess in the first row is 0. In the guess, this guy, the guess. Am I in an individual guess right now? Is that where I just was? Okay. The guess says, where am I going to put that? Well, look at, I have guesses 0 through 9 right here. I think I could leave it right here because there's something else I should show you, is how to pass, because the guesses is the parent of the guess. I'm going to show you something really awesome right now. I'm not. I am. So this thing is counting from 0 to 8, right? It's counting from 0 to 8. I'll show you. Let guess of guesses. So I can do the same thing in here. Let I equal index. All right? But the child doesn't know what this I is. So if you're thinking, I know you're going to say, let's put it inside of the service. I'm not. Ta-da! I might as well show you something else that's really cool. How to pass stuff. You could do it with a service, but this one seems to be easier to do with just a regular parent to child passing down information. So I'm going to pass my I from the parent to something, and the child, the child is going to call it guess number. How about that? I am going to call it I. Something feels so horribly wrong about that. I actually want to put it inside of quotes. Well, that still doesn't look good. Man. Something looks horribly wrong here. I might have these backwards. I'm passing something from here to this. And do I call this? I might have these. The guess number in the next, in the child, is going to be called I. Okay, let's try it. There's something I have to do first, because right now it's not going to take it. I have to import. It's called input. I know you guys are on the edge of your seats with this, and maybe I don't want to have you guys do too much at once. I'm going to end this right here, and I'm going to start. How do I bring in this I to the child? All right. If you didn't understand what we left off on, maybe you'll understand on the next one what we start on. See you in episode 8.